Okay, so here we are. We're going to start with, and we're learning about special right triangles. And before we can dive into special right triangles, we need to look at a little bit of algebra here. So you guys already did with Miss Stoltz in class parts A, B, and C. Let's go ahead and look at one like D. It doesn't look like you guys got to that one. So you would divide by square root 3. These would divide out, and you would get x equals, sorry, these would divide out also, x equals 13 for the first one. For part E, you would divide by square root 3, and so you would get x equals 7 over square root 3, but oh no, we're not allowed to have a radical, a square root, in the bottom part of a fraction. So what do we do to get rid of it? We're trying to make it a perfect square. We're going to multiply by square root 3, so that will come out to be square root 9. We get 7 square root 3 over square root 9, and then we know square root 9 to be 3, so this is 7 square root 3 over 3. Okay, for the next one we're going to divide by square root 3 to get x by itself, and so x equals 15 over square root 3. Again, we have to rationalize, and so we get 15 square root 3. Again, this is square root 9, but I'm just going to go ahead and write it as 3 since the square root of 9 is 3. But that's not our final answer, because remember, you need to always reduce if you can. 3 goes into 15 5 times, so 5 square root 3, right? This square root 3 is untouched in the whole matter. The only thing we're reducing is, since 3 divides into that 15 5 times, then that just becomes 5. So 5 square root 3 is our answer on that one. Alright, so it looks like Ms. Stoltz went about part G a little bit differently than perhaps I would have on part G. So let's look at part H. It's the same thing, just with a different square root. So what do you do when you have a fraction? How do you deal with that situation? Well, the easiest thing to do, we said just like before, we're going to divide by square root 2. But how do you divide 7 halves by square root 2? That's getting kind of gross because we're dividing a fraction by a number. So let's do it a little bit differently. Let's instead multiply both sides by 1 over square root 2. We know that dividing by square root 2 and multiplying by 1 over square root 2 are the same thing. These will still cancel to give us x, right? So let's do what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side of the equation, right? So that gives us 7 times 1 on top, or 7, and on bottom we get 2 times the square root of 2. Oh, but oh no, we can't have a square root on the bottom, so here we go. We're going to multiply the top and bottom times square root 2. On top we get 7 square root 2. On bottom, check this out, we get this 2, right? She's still there. And then square root 4, right, which is these two combined. Square root 4 and a 2. But what is the square root of 4? Oh, we know that. The square root of 4 is 2. So we have 2 times 2, right, which is just 4. So our final answer is 7 square root 2 all over 4. Okay, part I is not bad at all. You just divide by 2 and x equals 8. But I just want to make sure we all felt good about all these different algebra tactics before we dove into the geometry piece. So what I have here at the bottom of the page, there's 6 J through O. There are 6 different U-tries that I want you to try by yourself, and let's see, we'll come back here in just a second. Go ahead and pause the video, try these on your own, and then we'll check them here in a second. Okay, so on part J, I hope you divided both sides by square root 2. These canceled out, so these canceled out, so you just got x equals 8. That's pretty not bad, right? Then on K, you divided by square root 2. These cancel, so you get x equals 9 over square root 2, but once again, not allowed to have a square root in the bottom. So to get rid of it, you multiply by square root 2 on the top and bottom. So that's 9 square root 2 over square root 4, or since we know the square root of 4 is 2, let's just call that 9 square root 2 over 2. Okay. Same thing with L. You divide it by square root 3. These cancel. Got to rationalize since you have a square root on the bottom. Let's multiply by square root 3. So 6 square root 3 over square root 9, but we know the square root of 9 is just 3. So 6 square root 3 over 3. Oh, but wait, there's more, right? Because you have to always simplify your fraction if you can. This 6 and this 3 do simplify to what? 3 goes into 6 2 times, so that's 2 square root 3, 2 over 1, but I'm just going to write it as 2 square root 3. Okay, on part M, this is where it gets a little more tricky. The easiest way to work this problem is to multiply by 1 over square root 3. That's the same thing as dividing by square root 3. The reason why I chose to do it this way is because I have a fraction on the right hand side of the equation. Alright, so these square root 3's cancel. Tops times tops, I get 21. Bottoms times bottoms, I get 2 square root 3. Right? And then from here, I'm not allowed to have a square root 3 in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply top and bottom times square root 3. So that's 21 square root 3 over 2 square root 9, right? Because square root 3 times square root 3 is square root 9. But then, remember with me, square root 9 is 3. So this is 21 square root 3 over 2 times 3, or, right, because square root 9 was 3. Or x equals 21 square root 3 over 6. But wait, there's more. 21 6. Friends, that reduces. 21 and 6 both have a factor of 3 that goes into them, so you're looking at 7. 21 divided by 3 is 7. 6 divided by 3 is 2. There we go. Let's do the same thing in part N, only with a square root 2. So again, going to multiply by 1 over square root 2 since I have this fraction 5 halves on the right hand side. Okay, so these square roots cancel out. I get x equals 5 on top, 5 times 1, on bottom 2 times square root 2. But I have to rationalize because I'm not allowed to have a square root on the bottom. So I get 5 square root 2. Alright, and then this is where it gets exciting. It's going to be 2 square root 4, right? So you have this 2. She stays, and square root 2 times square root 2 is square root 4. But we know the square root of 4 is 2, right? This is 2 and this is 2. So 2 times 2, that's going to be 4, right? So we get 5 square root 2 all over 4 for our final answer. One more, part O. Divide by square root 2. I can do that since I don't have a fraction on the right hand side. Then let's rationalize. Let's multiply top and bottom by square root 2. So 8 square root 2, I'm going to go ahead and call that over 2 because square root 2 times square root 2 is 2, or it's square root 4, which is 2. And so we get 2 goes into 8 4 times, so 4 square root 2 is your final answer.